everybody. Welcome to Married Lifers. Today, our subject is going to be friendships made on both sides of the fence. So, friendships on the inside, friendships on the outside. We have a few special guests with us today, Rachel, which everybody should know by now, and then Barb.
Carol.
Ladies.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
You want to say hi, babe?
Hello, everyone.
Can you hear him?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm waiting for our co-host to come on too. So we'll give her a few minutes. So if you want to talk a little bit about what you do, Barb.
Currently, I run some diversion programs. I'll kind of, I got my life together about 24 years ago, going on 25. And I work to help women who are out in the streets put their lives back together. I've been building programs behind the fence and in the community for about 20 of those 25 years. So I did the Girl Scouts Beyond Bars program, Girl Scouting in detention centers. People don't understand that Girl Scouts does a lot more than people think they do. And then also I've worked for a program called Dignity when I first kind of got it together from like 2001 to 2006. And I'm back there now, kind of come full circle. But Dignity is kind of the place I went. I got picked up right out of the laundry and taken to Dignity House because they knew if I hit the street, I'd be gone again, I was 40 going on 41. And so that's just a little bit kind of the highlights. But I was a revolving door kind of person, all around substance abuse and bad relationships. I always picked the same guy. He just looked different.
Don't we all?
Yeah, that sounds like most of us.
It's like I locked eyes on, I learned one good lesson though. If I lock eyes on somebody right away like that, I need to turn around and run. Yeah, so I had a really good relationship, but unfortunately, on this side of the fence, but he passed. So I just choose to be simple. It's me, it's me, my family, and close friends that are like family. Like I don't put up real picky about like who I hang out with, what they're about, because I think that's really important because I don't want to be around any drama anymore.
Yeah, I think for all of us at some point you get sick of that.
Yeah, you just get tired. I remember, like I was sick of it out there, sick and tired, just done. And I love my life. It's peaceful. I go to work, I come home. Yeah, I'm tired because I'm like 65 now. Next month I'll be 65. So 25 years is a long time to be out of the mess. But I was real careful about, how I made friends and who I made friends with, just by kind of looking, scoping them out, seeing how they were with their own family, like really getting to know people and not just letting anybody in, like how they acted with their family members, what were they about before I'd ever like say, hey, yeah, let's go hang out. And I think that's true for you too, right? Oh, she's on mute.
Yeah. How did you get on mute, man? So there you go.
She did it again.
Hold on.
Okay, now it was because my dogs are barking.
Okay.
Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty much the same, small circle. Gotta keep it that way. It's like you got a lot of haters in this world, and people see you doing well for yourself, and they just try to
Put you in a trick bag.
kind of weasel their way in, and so you got to keep your circle small.
So
Best like that.
do you have any instances where you made friends with the wrong person?
I can tell you one, like I'd only been, out of the craziness for about 3 years, and we were at a like a barbecue thing, and somebody I knew, said they were doing good also, and hey, do you want to get together sometime? And no, but they followed me, and I didn't know they did, to my house. And they showed up when I wasn't there. My roommate was there, and I was out with the guy that passed, and came loaded down with, you know, crap and wanting me to get high and all of that stuff. I'm like, and the guy I was with, we walked up when he was there. So the guy never came back again. But I mean, I just have to be careful. I don't give rides to people I knew in the past and like just everything. I'm really cautious because that was one incident where I wasn't as cautious, and it almost put me in a jam because nobody would believe me if cops pulled me over or anything that I didn't have something to do with what he had on, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't want to be a co-defendant. I don't want to do any of that. So, yeah, that was one mistake. And then another time, um, I met a girl who I had been in program with, but she's nothing but drama. And in the beginning, it was okay, but little by little, every time she came around, she wanted something: money, uh, food for her kids, diapers, all that stuff. And that's not a friend, that's just a user. So, how about you?
Me or Rachel?
Either?
So I always say, because my husband's in there, um, making friends is like walking on a fine line, Like you have to know who you're making friends with, if you will. I made the mistake of, trying to be friends with somebody from our group, and then found out why her husband was in there, and it was not for a good reason. So I had to distance myself from her. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that's putting my husband in the line of fire, if you will.
Yep.
But I normally don't make friends anyways. Like I keep my circle small, but I guess too, because like my husband was pushing me to make friends. Well, not necessarily make friends. I was trying to grow our group for the facility he was at. So I was talking to females that way, and I did become friends with a few of them. But still, at the same time, you got to know who their other half is, because I always say like you're a reflection of your husband.
Yeah.
Have you made any good friends in there, babe? Or had any stories where you thought you had a friend and they weren't?
Well, so uh, I deal with people in different ways in here because in prison you have to, friend is it's almost like a sacred word. So it's not to be intertwined with somebody that you call your homie or your buddy or something like that. It's something stronger, a lot deeper than that. That I've learned that it is. Um, but I've been fortunate to have a few people that in here that I've made that I consider friends, and these are people that um, I accept or I open myself up to and pursue in a human nature and not by the code. Because then there's that friends that we have or people that we deal with or homies or whatever that it's only by the code. You know what I mean? So it's made by the rules of the code, by those things. So just as quick as they became something to you, is as quick as they could go away. So that's not something that's a friend. A friend is something you're loyal to through and through. That's the way I see it. So yeah, I've made several people that that became really close that I consider friends, and it's really rare and few, but I've been able to do that. And you said, what'd you say about out here? You said something else.
Like
What was the
what?
full question?
Have you made a? I don't want to say friend because I know you say that you take that differently. But have you been cool with somebody and then they end up doing you dirty at the end? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I've met people like that. I read something a quote one time, and it said a friend is a gift that you give yourself. So in reading that, I learned that it's got to be something worth giving to yourself. So because I've had people where I thought they were cool, I thought they were a friend, so to speak, and it turned out that they really weren't, and they first chance they got to turn their back on you, they did. And I've met some people like that, but I would put those in the like homie category. But at the same time, I've met people over the years that I used to correspond with that to some degree I thought that they were friends, and then they disappointed me and turned out to not be a friend. But over the years, I learned to deal with people in that way. I know there's a reason and a season that people come into your life, or a lifetime. So a lot of that people, they were just seasons passing me by, or maybe they popped up for a reason, and then I learned something and they went by. But very few lifetimes, though.
I always like the friends come in or people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, And so I had a really, really good friend, and she was with me from basically the day that I went into program. She came into the same program, and unfortunately, she passed a year ago. But she was closer than family. She knew everything about me, everything, and she was there for me, not ever wanting to take anything, like really true friend who knew me inside and out. And it was a sister. And so I have like friends that are kind of acquaintances. Then for me, it's like family, friends that become family. And like Rachel's that for me because I feel we've hung out for now a few years and gotten to know each other. But my circle's real small too, just because I don't have time to waste on people just mindless stuff. And I have my family who's up in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm here on my own. That's probably why my friendships here are more like family. I want that's what I just can't hang this, that, and the other. I don't have time for it. How about you, Rach?
Yeah, like I said, I keep my circle small because like so many snakes in this world, it's hard to trust people. So, and like I've um I've kept a few friends that I was incarcerated with, and they were pretty solid. I can say that, and pretty close. I would say as family, but that's really hard to come by.
Yeah, I think you're lucky if you get one or two that are like that.
Yeah, and basically all you need. You know what I mean? Like Barbara's a solid person, and she's been through the ropes, you know, so she knows, and she's walked them that vida loca, you know what I mean? So she understands and she can comprehend, like, so they kind of like, you know what I mean? Our worlds
60 seconds remaining.
are
That,
able to
that's why
connect
I went.
aspect. She understands on each level when I could talk to her on different levels, you know?
Yeah, like I said, I dedicated my life to when I was done with all that to helping women and girls escape, sexual exploitation and prostitution and all that. So I build programs like that.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
Okay.
Are you gonna try to call back, babe?
Yeah.
Okay. I love you.
Yeah. That's so hard.
Yeah.
Is yeah. So that's like it's not like a job for me. It's like a calling. And when I'm doing the work that I do, I'm happy about it. But I have to have really good boundaries because they're still all in it. So, but I try to reach out and help people wherever I can, in the way that not fishing for them, but teaching how to fish. Like being a mentor, or a guide, not personal life.
Yeah, that's cool that you do that. Like, I've always wanted to get into stuff like that too. I did get into something. Well, it was missing, or I can't remember what the name was, but it was where I was doing volunteering, where I was doing cases. I gotta look up the name to see what it was. Let me put you back on speaker.
Mm.
But I like those programs like that. Like a lot of people don't know that programs like you're saying
Right.
list. You know what I mean? Like that's not a well-known thing, and that's sad because a lot of people would probably be able to benefit from stuff like that.
Yeah. Like I said, there's so much need out there for really solid programs that are peer driven, because nobody knows it better than somebody who's lived that life. So having, you know, stuff that happened to me when I was a kid and that affected my whole life, and then finally getting out of it. I'm willing to listen to somebody who's walked the same road as me or similar road, much quicker than you know somebody that's just got a degree on their wall. That doesn't mean much to me. It's
Yeah,
cool to have both. I did go and get both, but yeah.
I think people are easier to open up to with stuff like that when with somebody that's actually been through it because some of that stuff is hard to talk about. You know what I mean? Like especially with somebody if it's just a counselor or something, if they've never been through it or they don't really know firsthand, like it's harder for especially with like sexually abused people.
Yeah.
I know that's a subject that's hard to open up about with people if you've never been through it. You don't understand those traumas. So you can go to school and learn as much as you want about it, but I mean, it sucks that you have to have somebody that understands that because that's something that's.
Well, that's what kept me out there for so long because I had tried to do other things, but I never met. I had kept a secret about a gang rape at 15, and I never told anybody until I heard a woman. It was her story, but it was similar to mine when I was at Estrella. And that's when I saw somebody else that had been in my same road having it together, and that encouraged me. And that's her program was the program I went to. So yeah. Anyway, ladies, I'm gonna jump off, but I'll come back on again. Thank you for inviting me, uh, and I hope I can add something here and there.
Thank you so much for being on with us.
Yes. Thank you for sharing.
Bet.
Hey, love, do you got any other stories? I gotta give the dogs water. I don't know if you could hear Tuco's losing his mind in the background.
Hold on. Can you get somebody on there? Hold on.
I know. It's hot everywhere. Like, it's ridiculous in this house right now. The dogs are losing their minds. But give me a second, okay? You want to talk about something, Rachel, with your nephew?
You ain't said nothing. You ain't in the AZ in the middle of July. I said she's over there complaining and she ain't in AZ in the middle of July.
Give me your life and be free.
How's the weather over there?
All right, watch.
So in my house, like we had this weird paneling, right? So we took the walls down and stuff, and there's no insulation. So when it's hot here, like inside gets super hot and it's stuffy. Like there's, I feel like there's no circulation. I mean, yeah, I know how hot it is in Arizona.
Yeah. Especially this house. It's like a castle with a bunch of windows, you know what I mean? So like all the heat comes in the summertime versus like the wintertime, all the cold comes in, but I'd rather it be cold than hot, you know?
Well, babe,
We'll put C's on. Ask him. He's got something for you.
okay. Hey, C's, how are you? So my honey said you got something for us about friendships or even relationships inside there.
So I had a friendship that turned into a relationship behind bars. I was locked up in RDC, and I met a girl that was in DW, that was in the prison next to us in the women's facility.
Uh-huh.
And so I was at a point in my life where I was dying. They gave me 6 months to live. And she used to see me walk the yard because they could see the back of our unit. So they used to see me walking the yard, and they used to always try to get my attention. And one day I looked up and I started talking to them. We started signing. And she knew how to sign, so I started talking to her. And I let her know about myself that I was dying of cirrhosis. They didn't want to help me. They didn't want to give me treatment or nothing. And so basically, they just let me die. But she came into my life, and she started like sending me things from over there and just looking out. And she was even putting money on my books and just looking out, you know. And we ended up falling in love, and we used to just talk for hours. And just they used to take us to the women's facility to walk through the girls' facility. We used to go to their yard, so they used to walk next to us, and that's how our friendship turned into a relationship. And we had a lot of really good times. And then some of her friends got involved with some of my homies, and she's doing a life sentence, and it just all went bad. It just all went bad because the friends she started kicking it with, they started acting weird, and my homies, they were acting weird. Long story short, she ended up telling on all of us, like, they were talking about some things that it was on their investigation, and it was behind her. And she said she loved me and stuff like that, and I believe that she did, you know. But She did something that she couldn't take back, you know, and she just got me in trouble. They ended up kicking me out and ended up sending me to another prison.
That's funny that you said that because when I was in,
She betrayed
well,
me.
a long
Yeah.
time ago when I was in the county, like we were able to talk to the guys, the COs at the time were passing messages back and forth because we were on one side of the wall in the yard and the guys were on the other side of the wall in the yard. So that's the same
Yeah.
type of stuff you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so the back of DRT, the girls' prison, so they could go to their little bar, we could talk and hear each other's voices, but their windows we could sign, so we could literally sit there and just talk for hours, you know. And it was cool. We had some good times. It was a trip. One time there was this big old Sureño chick, and she was huge, but they called her tiny. And when we were walking through their yard, she was like, I got dibs on the little one with the Bronco emblem on the back of his head. And I was walking next to that other girl, and all my friends were laughing because she was huge, and I'm small compared to her. And that girl got mad. It was funny. She turned so red. She's like, I can't believe that bitch did that. It was crazy.
That's funny.
But she even got the heads. She even got the heads with her best friend behind me because her friend had said something about me and she was talking shit behind my back. And I don't even know that girl, but she was trying to throw dirt on my name or whatever. And she was like, well, what should I do? They were best friends. So I gave her some advice, you know, and her best friends, I guess she had a really reputation on that yard, she used to run through, she used to bang with all kinds of chicks and stuff, but she banged with her for me, you know what I mean? And she showed me where she was at, her loyalty was there. It was just, you know, it sucked at the end because she told, you know?
Yeah.
And it just I'm like, man, you know,
That
I'm in here
sucks.
for not telling on somebody, you know what I mean? I wouldn't do that to her, you know what I'm saying? I was just man, I have to look at it like that, you know?
Yeah, that sucks.
Big time.
I always say, especially in there, it feels like, even with my husband and the other prison wives, you have to be careful. You're walking on a fine line with everybody.
Right. Right. Yeah, and it's, you know, I forgave her. I did forgive her, you know, and I even had her name tatted on me and everything. And I used to have to, the guys that were involved in that, you know, there's a lot of drugs and stuff involved in everything, you know, and they're like, man, you got a rat tatted on, bro. You can cover that up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm like, fuck, you know, they're right. Shit, you know?
So you're not supposed to be putting in just anybody's name on you.
I know. But I'm just loyal for my, you know, even my friends when I got it tatted, they were I showed up at the bench one day, all the homies are chilling, and these fools are all crazy, you know, they're doctors, you know, they're all doing life sentences and shit, it's crazy, but they love me, and they're like, yeah, we're talking about getting tats and stuff, girls and stuff, and I got her name blasted on my face, you know what I mean? Because she got my name tatted on her neck, and they were like, she's don't give a fuck. That motherfucker just blasted that shit on his face. You really don't
So
give a
on your
fuck,
chin?
you know what I mean?
Is that what's on your chin?
No, I covered it. How much I covered it with a big W on my chin, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what was on your chin. Because I've seen that tattoo. That's funny. You went all out. You did the all the no-nos. Crazy.
Yeah.
It's the most.
So he has. I would have known it was a name though, but that's the
I have
only.
another quick story.
Go ahead. I'm gonna move into the other room. These dogs are driving me crazy. Go ahead and tell your story, Cece.
So I had this other female. She used to come visit me, right? And she was cool. She was infatuated with me. she used to come see me a lot, and she was a good girl. And one day she came to see me, and like she was doing things for me, you know. And when she came to see me this particular day, she was all shaky and stuff like that. And I was looking at her, and I knew something was off, you know. So I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, what's up, girl? And I was like, you all right? Or she's like, yeah. And I was like, I asked her, I said, hey, where's the stuff at? And she's like, look at my tattoo. She kept trying to deter me from the question I was asking her. So I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, hold up. I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, look at my tattoo. She kept trying to show me the tattoo. I'm like, let me see it. And she got my name tattoo on the back. And she's like, I was like, who did that? So the night before, I had her go see me with somebody. And she said the name. And I'm like, oh my God. Fuck. And I put two and two together. I said, you're fucking high up. And she's like, no. I'm like, yeah, you are. And sure enough, she put me in a fucked up position. And I'm like, oh my God. And like back then, like Colorado's yards, they're more like laid back now. But back then, when I first came to Mission out here, it was a different ballgame, you know. There's a lot of cutthroats out here in the system, and she put me in a fucked up position, and I'm like, oh my God. And like I was looking out for this chick. I had her name stuff out there. I was doing things for her. You know, she ended up jacking me. She bought me some fake shit. Just, oh my God, it was all bad. And just recently, she had hit me up, and she's like, hey, forgive me, and all this other type of stuff. And I told her the only way I'd forgive her is if she made everything right with me, you know, because I had to go through some things behind that, you know. And she just let me to figure it out on my own, you know.
Yeah, but how do you make that right? You know what I mean? Like, how do you make that right? You can't.
Right.
My thing is, when somebody says something to you or they do something to you, they're showing you what they think about you. You know what I mean? Like what you mean, like what place do you stand in their life? I think I'm more big on that type of stuff now. I recently got into it with one of my cousins, you know what I mean? And it was like her response to me, it upset me. So it was like, I'm not even mad. I'm not hating on you anymore. I just don't, you know, I know my place in your life. So there's nothing you can tell me now, like, you know, call me and tell me you love me and you're sorry. But by your actions and your words, you show me what place I had in your life. So I'm good on that. Like, I'll remove myself. Because how do you come back from that? You know what I mean? Like what she did to you, like, how do you come back from that? You can't never trust somebody like that again. Especially with some shit like that.
I had people lie on you and get on the stand and just do a lot of bad things to me. Like you wouldn't even speak. Like it's crazy. Like, and they didn't have no evidence on me or nothing. Like it's crazy. Like, and it's just Colorado for you though. You know, it's just the way things are. Like you don't even want to be a part of a crime no more. Like. You just gotta be there, you know what I'm saying? That's all.
That's how it is. That's how it is everywhere, dude.
You know?
That's how it is everywhere. It's not just here in Colorado. People just suck nowadays. Like you can't trust nobody. You have to. I learned that the hard way.
Hey, but I love your husband straight up. I got much love for him. I'll never abandon him. I'll never leave. Like straight up. Like I'll never end. Like I know he comes from. He comes from some real shit. I met some real motherfuckers just where he's from, and he'll tell you that like I done time with a certain cat that's out here, and his sister lives in Arizona, and he's out here doing my phone, which like he's out here just acting up. But like when I first met him, like we just clicked, you know what I mean? And like I'm there for him, so don't even like straight up like I don't like I want to do positive things. I know you want good for him and stuff. And that's what we want to do, you know? That's what I want to do, you know?
Yeah.
But it's an everyday struggle in here. People just don't care, you know? It's like, we got to fight extra hard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but you're a writer. I can see what you do, and that's a blessing in his life,
Yeah.
That doesn't go unnoticed for sure. God sees that.
He's lucky. I'm lucky. We have each other. We're lucky to have each other on both ends. That's better be staying out of trouble.
Hey, my day, he told me about the how I did that artwork for you guys for the site or whatever.
Yes.
Like how you guys liked it and stuff like that.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that. I put that as our background. So what he's talking about is the married lifers sign that I have everywhere with the lock and stuff. You know which one I'm talking about? Caesar's the one that threw that for us.
Oh, the block?
Yeah. So watch. I have it put away because I didn't want it to get ruined. I was gonna put it in a frame, but it's like our background and stuff on Instagram and Facebook, and Caesar's the one that did that for me. So it's this one.
But I appreciate you. Bless you, and I have a lot of other stories too. Maybe one day I can share with you guys some stuff.
Yeah.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
My husband knows what we're talking about each week, so he can let you guys know. I mean, because we appreciate you guys telling your stories and sharing them too, because that's what we're trying to do is get information out there, if you will, not necessarily bad stories, but like just the struggles you guys go through and what you have to deal with, especially when it comes to like programs and stuff. Like I'm always calling over there bitching at him about my husband.
I know. That's why I said we gotta fight extra hard for where we come from.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
The good that we're doing, nobody can take that from us, and we just gotta keep going forward.
Yeah.
God bless you. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you for talking to us.
Congo.
Hey, love. Love. Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So when you put the guys, I was gonna say when you put the guys on, because did you hear him like he was low, and then when I moved rooms, he kind of got a little bit louder?
Yeah.
Or did you hear him good the whole time?
It wasn't, he did kind of go a little bit low.
Yeah, I gotta tell my husband they gotta speak up because some of their phones, it just depends on what phone they're using. But some of their phones in there are jacked up. Like you seen last time how you could barely hear him, and then all of a sudden he moved phones, and then you could hear him.
Right.
You know? But for my little story, like I learned the hard way because at first I was like naive about stuff, you know. Hey, love. Hey, when you put them on, can you tell them to try and speak up a little bit more? Because some of those phones where it's like super quiet. Because like we caught the end of what C's was saying, if you will. But yeah. So that's what I was trying to tell you, Petunia. Like, I don't make friends. Like, I have a resting bitch face, if you will. And, like, people don't talk to me, like, just generally in life. Like, they're just like, you look mean. And then my husband's like, I was trying to get everybody into that group. So we knew when lockdowns were, like, we kept in communication with each other. And so he'd be like, every time you're out visit, talk to one person. So I started talking to, like, one girl and just sharing the Facebook information. And we started building up from there. And then one of the girls, she was super sweet, and she was like talking about, let's make a podcast together and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm down. Like I had been wanting to do this for a while. And then, so we started talking about it. I asked my husband, he was like, at first I want to say you were okay with it, huh? Until we found out who it was. So, I mean, that was the good part. That was the cool thing on her part, because she was like, well, I agreed to it at first. And then she was like, well, I want you to be comfortable with who my husband is. And she gave me the information, right? And I was like, oh, no. Like, I felt dumb because I was telling my husband about it. And he was like, nope. And I'm like, I shouldn't have answered first. You know what I mean? Like, you live and you learn. You have to learn from these things. So at that point, I was kind of like skittish with everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I'll tell you about the page and stuff. Like you could be on there, but like I can't really fuck with you personally like that. So like now it's like if I make friends with somebody, I don't even want to say friends because it's not friends, but like if you make acquaintances with somebody, like I have to talk to my husband about it because like that I don't want to, it wasn't traumatizing or nothing, but it was like a lesson learned. You know what I mean? So I don't want to make that same mistake again. I'm cool with making a mistake, but I'm the type of person where I won't make the same mistake again. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I met some girls too that good. Like me and Alvalicia, we're friends. You know what I mean? And there's a couple of the other ladies that I'm cool with like that. Like I've been out with outside of the visits and you know what I mean? Like that. But there's not many.
Well, my father always like told us, not in these exact words, not in his exact words, but pretty much nobody's going to ride like you ride. So just ride alone. You know what I mean?
I like that. Because I learned that the hard way. I'm always sad, like, you know, I do the most for my friends. I'm always there. The one, you know, if they need diapers or food, I was the one there if they needed rides. But then as I started getting older, I started like realizing that where's everybody when I need them? You know what I mean? Nobody's around.
That's how it always is. And like, I was a deaconess at one point, and so like I got different calls, and my job, like as far as the phone, was like giving out resources and stuff like that. So there was people like, you know, coming from our background we wouldn't communicate with, you know what I mean? And there's people that would reach out and like be in a situation to where like, oh my God, this is a family member, and you know, my mother's here and I have a child here and he's coming home here and I don't want him here. Like, what do I do? You know? So I would just have to communicate and kind of learn on that level and see where they're coming from. So you kind of like get sensitive to that level as far as like, you know, for prayer and you know, trying to communicate with that person and bring like calmness into their life, you know? So, but I get what you're saying. Like, there's some people just coming from our background that we don't like associate with on the day to day, you know? So, quit saying that so much. You know, it doesn't sound right.
That's why I told my husband because he's always saying that. And then he was like, have you noticed you say that? And I was like, I say it, she says it, like we all do. Like I'll go back and watch these and I'm like, I try to learn from what we did previously, you know? See?
Right.
And I do, all of us do it. All of us do it. All of us are like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know. You hear me?
Welcome to the You Know podcast.
Right. you know.
Because what you know, you know. You know?
You know.
Firecrackers. Did you hear that?
Was that firecrackers?
Yeah. My neighbors are crazy.
We got 4th of July here when the Diamondbacks are playing. Like every week, every Friday when they win, they're shooting off fireworks. So you go out there and watch the grand finale. I could see it from here. It's like the 4th of July every week.
Yeah, so they do that here a lot too, like at Illich's and at the amusement center, the amusement park, and at the Coors Rocky Field. They're always doing fireworks too. But here, I don't know what it is. I live in somewhat of the ghetto, if you will. And they're always doing crazy shit, like all the time. This isn't nothing new.
Yeah, I live in the heart of the ghetto.
Yeah, my husband was all worried because, like, if you look at my backyard, because I'm the second house from the corner, right? So you look across the way on the other side of the street, there's like a big field, and there was a homeless camp. So he was like super worried. And I'm like, dude, like I live in the ghetto. So he gets mad at me because when I come home, I like to just sit in the car for a minute. And he's like, get in the damn house. I'm all, I need to decompress before I walk in that house.
Well, they've changed this area like so much, and they're still working on it and expanding it. And they have a lot of the college campus just a couple of blocks from my house, so it's kind of like changing the environment around here, so to speak. But then you got the homeless shelter that they're working on kind of running them off, so they're running them out of that area. And I guess the city is got it extended for 6 more months, to put them in some type of housing type developments and stuff like that. But some of them just don't want it. They don't want the responsibilities of the world. When I was outreaching and we were picking up at CAST like every Friday and stuff, I seen like the same faces, over and over for 5 years, and some they did get into housing, and they get like a voucher, which it pays them for 4 months rent free. And then after that, they have to start paying. And believe me, some of them people, they get checks, So, but
I'll
once
tell
you're
you a story about that later. About that situation later. Do you have any more of your friends that want to talk, babe?
Yeah, hold on.
Because they're about to go on lockdown. So when they go on lockdown, me and you will talk about that more, because I got a story on that too.
all right.
I do know that. I do know exactly what you're talking about when it comes to that. You should have said who he was putting on the phone, little weirdo. Huh.
I don't know where my mute button and stuff went.
Hello?
To go call them?
I guess.
Calling people.
Baby.
Yeah.
Ava said, hi, Theo Greyhound. You sent a picture of her. I'll send it to you. She's so freaking cute.
Hi, Ava Bella. The fatty.
So I think you've seen that picture that I have of my honey holding a baby. He's sitting down. He has a baby. I'll just send it to you, but that's our niece. Like, she's so cute. Who are you calling, babe?
No, I don't know. Find somebody. Everybody's on the phone or somewhere else. It's kind of quiet in here. Can you hear it?
Yeah, that's weird because it's normally loud.
Yeah.
Like you can hear guys yelling. I'm like, what are they
I thought it
yelling
was
for?
weird. It was like normally they're all loud, talking to each other, like 5 feet away from each other, screaming.
Yeah. That pod's driving him crazy. So while we're waiting for him to get somebody, my dad used to run waste management. So they hired a couple of homeless guys, trying to help them out and stuff. And they were making money. Like back then, like in the late 90s, like $500 a week was a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can get a hotel room, and they slept underneath the 6th Avenue Bridge. Like they did not want. And my dad was like, like we don't mind having you work here, but you have to get a room once a week and take a shower.
Yeah.
And the guy was telling him like he's comfortable living underneath the bridge. And he was like, what are you doing with all that money? You know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of that has to do with like addiction and stuff. Well, some of it, I really don't know that much about it, but I do know that that tripped me out when my dad was telling us about that.
Yeah. Sad. Especially with these blue pills now. It's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes his phone echoes like that. Did you hear it? It drives me
Yeah.
crazy.
Do you have your TV on in the background?
No. Yeah. It's on, but it ain't. You know what I mean? TV power off.
Volume down?
Yeah, I just turned it all the way off.
Oh, okay. Because sometimes that'll do it.
I feel like it's when they're monitoring his calls because it's not like that all the time.
Yeah, they are, of course.
So
Hey, turn this on.
I need a white perspective. Yeah, come on. Hey,
what?
she'll ask you when you get out. Hey,
What, baby?
this is my buddy Nugs here. Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
So you have a story for us about a friendship or relationship being in there?
Being in here, yeah, I got plenty of stories with her.
Okay, so
Which one you
you
wanna
could
hear?
tell us a bad one and then a good one.
A bad one? We're all
Yeah.
bad because I'm still stuck in here. But I'll tell you the worst one. I'll tell you the worst one. I'll tell you about my baby's mom. That she snitched on me, and then she took my kid away from me. Now I haven't seen my kid since she was 3 months old. I've been locked up for 20 years now. So we was dating. She got pregnant, and she was my little getaway driver. And so she used to do my jobs with me and shit. So she had a kid. She had my kid. So she goes and has the baby. I get arrested. She tells on me. So I'm fighting my cases, fighting my federal court, fighting my state cases and stuff. Next thing I know, the judge or the district or U.S. attorney's telling me that, like, hey, well, this chick Andrea is telling on you. I said, okay, cool. You know, I figured, so what? You know, it's my baby's mom. She's got to look after her own interests. And this chick not only told on me, she gave him letters I wrote her. She was willing to testify against me. And my lawyer is the one who's the one who told me that she had remarried and had another kid while I was fighting all my cases.
Yeah.
That's the worst one.
I feel like most of everybody's worst stories is with their supposedly significant other, if you will.
Yeah, that's I see it. That's the worst one. The best story I have,
Yeah.
man, I don't know about the best stories. Maybe my mom hanging with me. I mean, every boy is a mama's boy, and even when we grow up to be men, mom still sticks around us. So I guess that's my good story. Mom's still around me, and she always looks after me if I ever need anything.
Yeah. You're lucky because there's not a lot of people like that. There's not a lot of people in general that have their parents that are there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you said I'm a rookie?
No, I said you're lucky.
Oh, lucky.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because not everybody
people
has
heard
their
about the
parents
reason.
there. But have you ever made a friend in there that you're still friends with now or that's gotten out and still keeps in touch with you? Or just like somebody you met in there that you're cool, that you've been cool with all these years? Because you've been down for a long time.
The one friend that I had, I met him before he got locked up. And then once he got locked up, I used to look out for him. Then he got out, and I got locked up. And I just recently started talking to him again. And that's probably the only one that stayed in contact, minus the family. But yeah, that's the only friend. The friends come far and few between in here.
Yeah.
But he still keeps in touch. And he's my mom. Like, I don't know what Facebook and all that stuff is, but my mom was telling me about this Facebook post that he had posted. And just one day was like, "Hey, what's up, Nugs? How you been? I ain't seen you in a long time. Just wondering how you were." And my mom, she tells me like what the new postings and stuff are every once in a while. And so like he kind of tries to keep in touch, but yeah, I mean it's better than most.
Yeah, I'm learning that with my husband more and more lately. Because he defines friends different than he does homies and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely. Friends is a big word. Friends is it takes a while to get into that zone.
Yeah, and there's not a whole lot that are in there like that.
Yeah.
But
Is
thank
that
you.
all the questions I can answer for you?
Yeah, thank you for sharing your stories with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. There he comes.
So it's crazy. So I get it, like they're in there, but it's still basically the same as out here. Because even being out here and having friends, like they do you dirty. You know what I mean? But like
Made a
you,
hardcore guy nervous.
what, baby?
I said, you guys made a hardcore guy nervous.
Oh man, I don't know how. I'm friendly sometimes. I mean, I'm sure if he would have seen how mean I am, it would have been different. Just kidding.
It's funny to see how they act to get all like some of these guys ain't talk to women, but some are just, I don't know. Funny.
Well,
Maybe I'm cool under pressure. I don't know, but it's just, I trip out.
I think sometimes too, talking to somebody else's wife is, especially somebody like you, it might be a little intimidating, if you will.
Yeah.
And then you always tell them stories about how I'm mean and stuff, so that don't help.
Try not to be.
Whatever. He's always telling him, my wife's mean, and he'll tell him stuff like about my quizzes too, because I gave his friend a quiz, and he hasn't messed with us since then. We're like, they tell him, "Are you guys good?" I'm like, dude, what do you tell them in there? Like, you sound like you're an abused husband or something.
Hell, because they know it's a food chain in here. I bully them, and somebody has to bully me, so they know that you bully me.
That's funny. You don't have any stories, babe, about good friends?
I mean, I've ran into some different people. Like, you know, like I think about this case and this individual, the way he
You have 60 seconds remaining.
of all people, the way he did me when I looked out for him in every single way, and then he went around and lied and said things that weren't true, and I had his back and everything, and but it meant nothing because just to protect himself or do whatever, he was so easy to just turn on me and lie about me.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
That's usually how it goes. And then back then you were so young, like you're naive at that point. You know what I mean? You want to believe that because you're a good friend to them, that they're a good friend to you. I think that's probably one of the hardest lessons I've learned recently. You know what I went through with my ex-best friend and stuff.
Yeah, well, good thing we talked about that to the root of it, of what actually.
I think in that kind of environment, it's like totally different, you know, because it's just dealing with so much on the day to day on different levels versus out here. But when he's gonna call back right now, right?
What time is it? Yeah, he'll probably try because they lock down probably in about 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I see the similarities. Like, I get it. I see the similarities though. You know what I mean? From the relationships I've had out here and him and their, like, I guess I've recently been going through a lot of different things with people that I considered friends, and like, so I see I like, you know, when you're going through something, you automatically click with the similarities of stuff. You know what I mean? I know it's harder being in there, but like I still see the similarities about being out here and people that are scandalous. Like, whether you're in there or you're out here, you're gonna find people that just suck. You know what I mean? And lately, I'm like opening my eyes. Like, you know, I had a best friend that we were friends for like 10 plus years, you know what I mean? And my husband's like, I was upset about something that she had said to me. And I'm like, you know, she was kind of upset because I didn't forgive her, if you will. And it's not that I didn't forgive her. It's just what she said. Like, how do you say you're sorry for it? You know what I mean? Like, you said something that I just you said it. That's how you felt about me. So I can't, it's not that I don't forgive you for it. It's just, I'm not going to allow you back in my life because now I know what the truth is. You know what I mean? I know how you truly felt. And that's like, you can't, how do you forgive? How do you say you're sorry for that? That's how you feel. That's how you feel. I'm cool. But you don't need to sit here and act like you're my best friend. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he talks about stuff like that too in there. But he makes me think of things differently because the way he explains what a friend is to him and what a homie is and what an associate is, like he breaks it down differently, and it's the same thing I'm thinking, but I don't break it down and explain it the way he does. You know what I mean? He's good at all that.
Yeah.
But before I would be naive, honestly, I'd be like, I love somebody so much because when I make somebody my friend, I make them my family. They're not just my friend, like they're intertwined with my family, my kids and stuff. So I have very few friends like that. You know what I mean? So when I see when they do jacked up stuff to me, like I want to forgive them because I love them at that point. Like I love them. So I keep giving them chance after chance. They keep showing me who they are, and I keep like, you know, trying to paint a different picture. Like I need to stop doing that. I think friendships are just hard.
Just as long as you have like a few solid ones at your side, that's all you really need.
Yeah. And I thought she was one, you know what I mean? Until some stuff popped off and it was just like things were said and you can't take that back. You know, I'll forgive you, but I won't. You no longer have access to me, and that's just what it is. Because I know what kind of person I am, and I know what kind of friend I am, and I would have never did no shit like that, or I never thought like that. You know what I mean? And she would say stuff about my spouse, like me and Victoria talked about it, and Avalicia too. I'm like, to me, when we're friends, like I would never look at your dude any other way than that's her dude. You know what I mean? I would never be like, oh, I'm attracted to him or he's cute or like, why are you even having those thoughts? You know what I mean?
Right.
And a lot of the loyalty is lost with a lot of people because, you know, with Victoria, she's more than my, you know, than one of my best friends. We always introduce her as my little sister. And she got married, and her dude, like I never looked at him other than my brother. You know what I mean? Or my brother-in-law, if you will. Like, but the other girls were like, oh, he's cute or this and that. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, don't let me catch you saying no shit like that about mine because we'll fight. So I don't play that. Like you should have some kind of loyalty. You know what I mean? Like that's just, I don't know. I think everybody thinks of friendships differently, but it feels like most people are just out to use you for what they can get from you. And when they find somebody with a big heart that'll be down to do anything and help them out when they're down, the more they use you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing in there. Like that's why he doesn't get close to people. He's like, yeah, this is my associate or this is my homie. Sometimes I still get confused and I'm like, oh, your friend? He's like, no, I said my homie. And I'm like, oh, okay. I forgot your definitions are like, you just throw that friend word around. And it's not, you know, you have to reevaluate that.
Yeah.
So I guess you can call back because those phones sometimes get crazy. But you don't have any other stories from when you were locked up?
As far as friends?
Or just stories?
Yeah, I had I would say I had my right to die when I was locked up. You know, it's like when we met, we hit it off and she was kind of like she was a kind of like her institution score was higher than mine. So I got mine really low because I was trying to get on a certain yard and wait for a certain individual to come through. And I guess it just wasn't meant to happen, you know, because like it only took her one write up to get transferred. That's all. Her score was kind of like it was a 3, and she was like on a what was it, a low medium yard. So all she needed was like one major ticket, and then she was off the yard. So I was all the way down to, I worked myself all the way down to like I think my institution score was all the way down to a 1. So it was pretty low. And I told her, I said, hey, I said, give me about 4 months. I says, because I'm gonna wait for this individual. They'll be hitting this yard in about 4 months. And once that person comes, I'll be over there where you're at, right? So she was like, girl, you're a 2-1. What you talking about? I had a lot of playing room, basically. But so she goes to the hole, and like a couple of days later, I'm in the hole with her. I'm walking in the hole with my stuff, and it's like, what are you doing back here? I said, girl, I'm going with you. And she said, what do you mean you're going with me? She says, you can't go with me. She says, you got a whole lot of playing room, Rachel. And I said, no, I'm going with you. That's how hard they rode me on that yard. So they rode me up, and next thing you know, we get to that yard, and we got like tickets back to back over there too. I mean, stacks. It only took like probably one ticket to I-5 us, which was like a lockdown, right? But you're talking about, I don't know how many times they I-5'd us, and I didn't think they could I-5 you that many times. You're still going to do the same amount of time in the hole. But so we kind of started traveling together. So from that point, and we did keep in touch when we both got out. She got out before me. She was back again, got back out, and we touched base. So it's been like a off and on thing, so just our lives are different now, because I've kind of changed my life,
For the better, yeah.
for the
So
better.
I think maybe next week we'll talk about hood stories, because when I was in the county, like I seen some crazy shit go down in there, and I'm like, I was only in there for a few weeks, but it was like crazy stuff going down. So I think maybe next week we could talk about hood stories.
Yeah, I seen some like crazy stuff in there, but I'd rather, keep those kind of things in the walls.
Yeah, I've seen some crazy stuff too. I mean, I don't know names and stuff, and I would never say that anyways, but I seen some crazy shit when I was in the county.
Yeah.
And like girls are different. I think, well, I don't know, I hear the stories about the guys, but to me, like the stuff I've seen and the other stories I've heard about girls, like they're crazy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I met me a little when I was in there for a few weeks. I met me, she was older at that time. She was like, kind of took me under her wing and like explained everything to me that was going on in there. And like, I kind of just stuck with her, and we stood friends afterwards for a while, and then we lost touch. But she was, at that time, I think I was like, it was before I had Taya. So I had to have been like 24 maybe at that time. And so, yeah, things are different. I was wild back then. And she was like 42, but she was, her lifestyle was different than mine too, like way different. But she was cool. She, I wish I would have known what happened to her, but she lived a wild life. So.
Yeah, and that's what one thing I think about, and I lift a lot of girls up, because it's like I've seen old timers in there with like 3 numbers, and people that had like doing a LWOP sentence, or what was it? I don't know if she had like a natural life sentence. This is crazy. So we were at Florence, right? I will tell this story. We were at Florence, and like I said, she had a 3 number. So at this time, she was probably young. I don't know how old she was when she went in. So she was a older lady. When I had got there, she was an older lady by this time, and she used to escape. She used to escape from Florence at the yard we were at. And she had nowhere to go, though. She had nowhere to go. She had nobody. So when she got hungry, it was chow time. Lunchtime, she was back. So the first couple of times they used to put an APB out on her. And then after that, they knew, well, it's close to chow time. She'll be coming back. She never told them once how she got out. Never told them how she got out. But yeah, so then they closed down that yard and they moved us, but she ended up corresponding with the victim's family, and the victim's family actually wrote a letter to the clemency, and she ended up getting a clemency and she got released.
No, that's cool. I mean, that
Yeah.
takes a lot for somebody to do that too. Like I've watched stories on that, and that trips me out because I've been, like my uncle was murdered. And I don't know how it would feel. You know what I mean?
Well, the people, I guess I don't know if they converted to Christianity or what at that time, but like I said, she had did over 25 years, and so they reached out to her and they started corresponding. They sent her a Bible, they sent her a cadena, a cross, and so she started reading the Bible and she turned her life to Christ, and doors were open for her.
I think that's cool. I think, because I know when I first met my husband, like he was wild and all this stuff, you know what I mean? Like I know a lot. But he's changed a lot too. That's what I was saying. Like when we first started this, I'm like, when he was on the other YouTube stuff, and some people know him from that. Like they know all the why, or not all of them, but they know that part of him. You know what I mean? They know those stories. My husband's known in his state, but they don't know. Like he holds close to his vest the way he is as a family, and I think. I honestly, with all my heart, he's changed. Like he's trying to do better. He's trying to be better. You know what I mean? And that's all you can do. But I'm just saying, like, I think that's cool that, something bad, like a tragedy can happen and the family can forgive and correspond with somebody. You know what I mean? Like correspond with them. And I think that's great. But you think about it like too, like, how would I react to that? Or, can you do that? Because that takes a lot. That takes a lot of courage. That takes a lot of God to help you get to those points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and some people can and some people can't. Like for I've seen the change in my nephew's mentality, and and versus 10, 15 years ago, however, you know what I mean, to now, he's done a 380, and like I've done a 380 in my life. And my mom used to say about my brother, like, oh, he's never going to change. She used to say that about me. Oh, she's never going to change. But people do change. And like I used to tell my mom, if I did it, my brother can too. He changed his life. He's doing really well. You know what I mean? But nobody's going to talk about how well you're doing, how you've matured in your mentality. You know what I mean? They're always going to remember the bad, and they're always going to speak that negative, instead of speaking life into a person, you're always going to have that. It's just a hater world,
Yeah. And I posted that not too long ago on Facebook, like, stop bringing up my past. I don't live there anymore. I sold the whole building. Because we've all made mistakes. And like I've said that before too, like when we first got together, he was a mess and I was a mess. Like we were both all over the place. Like he would get pissed off because our daughter was just a baby and I'm over here. I've always had my kids. I've always taken care of my kids. I've always made sure they were, you know what I mean? when I was going out, they were with my mom or they were with my brother. It was never like I was just randomly leaving my kid. I'm not saying that that's better either. You know what I mean? I wasn't just randomly leaving my kids nowhere, but
Yeah.
going out was a priority. You know what I mean? We were out all the time. And I was a mess back then. I was always going to jail and he'd get pissed off. He's like, who's there taking care of the kids? Like, what are you doing? And I didn't want to hear that shit at the time. I was young and stupid. You know what I mean? There's stories I can think about now where I shouldn't even be here. Honestly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We all make mistakes. You got to learn from it and grow. I'm still, even at my big age, I'm still learning and trying to grow. Like it's always, that's always a work in progress, but a lot of people do. You're right. Like it's more juicy to talk about when you were a mess and the bad
Yeah.
things than it is to say, like I'm proud of where you came, like how far you came. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Instead of saying like, oh, look at how that person's succeeding, and you know what I mean, and look at how he's living now. He's living really good, or she's really good. They just want to, oh, that person was a drug addict, or that person is an ex-convict, or whoop-de-woo. You know what I mean? Yeah, regardless of the person, what that person was 20 years ago, what about today? You know what I mean? Glorify him through the Lord, and like forgiveness, like you said, like, whether, how would you feel if that was like one of your family members? Forgiveness is within us. It was hard for me. Like, believe me, it was like I had my hit list. It's like, and I ain't gonna go do life in prison. I'm gonna buy me a tombstone at 20 years old. You know what I mean? Because that's where I'm gonna be. I ain't gonna do life in prison. But that forgiveness is within yourself, and that's a gift that the Lord gives us. And He broke me down, and it's not. It was kind of like a boulder that He chipped that little at a time, and kind of revealing things to me. And forgiveness is for yourself as well. To heal yourself, because you'll be sick with that disease and animosity, hatred, and all that. And sometimes you just gotta let go. What is it gonna do? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not gonna change the situation or anything like that, but it's gonna make your life better, and you'll be able to grow more.
So with my first husband, with my older kids' dad, I held on so much hate for him for so many years, like a lot of years. I like literally hated this fool. Like I was so upset and stuff, because I talked about that before, how like he's out here and he has a good job and he owns his own home, but he's never been there for these kids. You know what I mean? And I bent over backwards trying to make him be a part of their life, because I wanted that. I didn't want my kids to not have a dad. I didn't want that for my kids. So I held on to like so much hate for him. And it was like I kept seeing these things that would say, at the end of the day, you're just poisoning yourself, because you're sitting here full of all this hate for this person, or all this, built up hurt, and they're just living their life. Like it's not affecting them in any kind of way. You're just damaging yourself. So I finally had to sit down and like let all that go. You know what I mean? Like I still have a little bit of bitterness towards him and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, he's the one that missed out on these kids. You know what I mean? Now he's getting upset, or, not too long ago, about my grandson and not being able to be a part, and my daughter don't want nothing to do with him. Like she's, going to get married and stuff. And he tried to reach out, but you're 23 years late, dude. And I tried to explain that to him the whole time they were little. I'm like, you can't keep pushing them off and then thinking when they're adults, you're going to come into their life and have this great relationship with them, because they remember you not being there. They remember us struggling. So I don't say nothing. I let them, they got mad because they were like, you were always forcing us to give them another chance and to be there. And we're not doing that. We're adults. You can't tell us what to do anymore. You can't force us. I'm like, I try to warn you, dude. Like I tried to, and he tried to, reach out to me and say something crazy. And I was just like, that's between you and God at this point. Like, He knows I tried. I'm not even going to give you any more of my energy. I can't lie though, that it's like I still hold some bitterness, but I try not to like say hate when it comes to him. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's only affecting me. It ain't affecting him. He's living his life, doing his thing. So why should I let that keep holding me back or holding me down, if you will?
Yeah, it's like before I was baptized, it was like there was some things that I needed to let go of, and I didn't realize I still had anger and animosity or hatred for this individual. You know, yeah, I did realize, but subconsciously it was kind of like in the past. So you don't really think about it on day-to-day basis. So like the Lord pointed it out to me. I used to canvas and hand out flyers and stuff. And I'm driving to work one day, and this is like 2 weeks before my baptismal. And you know, I got like a nudge. I'm driving to work, and I got this nudge that like the Lord's telling me to give this person a flyer. And I'm like driving to work, and I'm looking around, and I was like, I don't see nobody, Lord. Like, what are you telling me? And then it's like, I see this individual's car. So I go around the block to see if I see anybody. I don't see anybody, so I take off. Well, the following weekend, again, I'm going to work, and I get this nudge, and I was like, oh my God, Lord, anybody but that. And I was like, no, it was kind of like, I think how Jacob wrestled with the Lord, you know, and it was like, no, this is what you're going to do. So it was like, I was getting ready to get baptized like in a week. So I went up to that person and extended the Lord's hand, you know, telling them about Jesus, inviting them to the church. And I did that with a couple of individuals. It was very hard, but it was cleansing for my spirit, you know, and it felt really good after. And people like would be like, you know, why and how could you? And this person did this or this person did that, and whoop de woo. And it's like, you know, that's between me and God. You know what I mean? It's between me and God. Like,
It kind of feels like a boulder's lifted off your shoulders to kind of let that stuff go. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I get that. I still, sometimes I think about it. I try not to think about it, and I get upset, but it's like at the end of the day, that's between him and God. Like, he's going to have to answer to him why he was the way he was with his kids at the end of the day, not me, because I was always there. So, I mean, sometimes, you know what I mean? Like you start thinking, like I have the bad habit of overthinking, and I'll start getting myself upset, but then I have to think again, like it's not worth it anymore. It's not, you know, the only person I'm affecting at the end of the day is myself. And I'm not going to keep giving him access to me like that. Like, I'm good.
yeah.
I think it's just a little tougher when it comes to your kids, because you want to, you know what I mean? I'll do anything to not let my kids hurt, or, you know what I mean? I'll suck up my pride for them, whatever I can do to make their lives better. And they know that. I think that's the part that, you know, gets me.
Yeah.
The worst. Because if it was just me, I'd just like let it roll off and be like, whatever. But because my kids are involved is what was the biggest struggle for me when it came to like trying to forgive and stuff. But I mean, it's funny because I noticed a lot when we do the lives, we kind of start with the subject and we start going down different subjects. But I mean, I think that it's natural, you know what I mean? Like, we have a natural flow. So whatever we talk about, we talk about.
Yeah.
But I guess we could end it for the night. My honey's not gonna, I don't even know if he can call back because the lines were big.
Okay. I got to get my dogs fed. So you have a good night, and good
You
night
too.
to all the viewers. And
Yeah.
tune in.
Thank you so much for being on with me again. Yep. Thank you everybody for being on in the comments. We appreciate it. We'll see you next Saturday. Have a good evening.